Hello everyone, Balguard here, and today we are back for some more coverage of the Horizons Legion 2021 World Cup. I'm gonna review my own game, but I'm joined here by Khar Lupercal. How are you, Khar?
I'm fine. This is just the second time that we do this one, but
There was absolutely nothing, no mistake, as you can see by the different timestamp of these messages. So, alright, my opponent here is Wese. He plays for Team Middle Europe and Balkan Miners. Yes, that's it. You always forgot the entire name. And here today I'm playing as usual Exodus, Ahriman and Vulkan, and my opponent is playing a kind of similar lineup as he's playing Sigismund from the Imperial Fists, Ahriman 2, and Rask from the Death Card. So here are the lists that I used. So firstly, this beautiful Exodus deck. So as always, this is the list is always subject to Orthonor's approval, but it's still a Serpent squad build. The only notable difference you could notice, boring. But we're not here for some pair spear shenanigans. We're here for some straight up winning. We should always be here for that, and it's a nice, good, that's not the best. We'll see it everywhere on ladder. But anyway, that's not the point today. So basically, the biggest changes that we are going to bring to Exodus are the following: either 1 and 2 leading sites, either 1 or 0 silent death. Fierce and Slow is an idea of my own. Of course, it's Orthonor's idea, but I found it was great. 1 or 2 one of minis, 1 and 2 head on the squad, and 1 or 2 Harrowings. So no, as this is, all of the deck he's playing are mid-range ones. I felt like that maybe Fierce and Slow could give me a very nice turn with head on the squad. Harrowing won't be useful because most of the times these warlords tend to empty their hands. And 1 of minis could be great because they are both they're all warlords that can put me under a lot of pressure.
One of the best healing cards, so you don't have that much problem running it in your deck, I think.
Yeah, probably. Our Lord and Master and Savior Orthonol sometimes runs only 1. So, but I'm really on your side there. I really like this card. Like having another warlord, not only does it draw you a card, but it always allows you to do things that your opponent did not suspect. And therefore he did not play around that. And when you're playing a format where players are as good as in the World Cup, it's always invaluable tool to be able to surprise them. So yeah. Alright, so that's the first list. Moving on to Ahriman. So Ahriman, kinda usual list. You'll see. Actually, you know what? I will talk about the list after I show you the first match. Because this first match I opened with Exodus. And my opponent opens with Rask. Now, before we get started into the game, let me just explain quickly why I chose Exodus. It is simply because he's the warlord I'm the less confident with, and so I thought that maybe there was a chance that if I open with him, there will be a chance for my opponent to not run 2 anti-stealths, and maybe I could gain a clutch turn with my camouflage. Right.
And for this World Cup, I think it's better to open with the least confident warlord. The warlord you're the least confident with.
If we want to 3-0 especially, yeah.
Yeah.
Could you tell us more about that, Khar?
Sorry?
Could you tell us more about that? Why do you say it's best to open with the warlord you're less confident with?
Because the last matchup you will have to run the warlord you have last. So for the first one, if you manage to get a win, it should be easier for the last one.
Yeah, it's easier to win the first game than the last one if you won the 2 first. Because if you... since you can't play the same warlord again, if you win with your 2 first warlords, then your opponent knows what you're going to be using, right? Okay, obviously. But enough talking metagame, now let's move to this game. So, as you can see, I had a very good opening hand, like Tissue and Nautilus score. I kept both cards, just because the turn score is so clutch later on. And now I see that he's got a very nice curve. And I was already hesitating, should I face bash into his bike and then play my Fortune's Veteran? Because even though I'm put under a lot of pressure, I still value 2 HP on my face more than 2 HP. I mean, I value the veteran's HP more than mine. So I don't know what Yuka
at this
would have
point,
done.
as the Rask has the ability to kill basically all the small troops, it's better to keep them without of his ability arm's length.
Yeah, if you can. But then I was like, do I do the 2 damage to his face, or do I do the 2 damage to his last rifle? Because if I do it to the last rifle, then he's just gonna train to the veteran, and that's 2 points of damage I lost. And then if I deal the 2 damage to his face, then maybe I will get punched twice by the other thing. So overall, I thought it would be just safer.
I'd say both decisions can be valuable.
Most likely, yeah. So here I was lucky enough to top deck my escape vents, and so that's we're both, I think, dream hands actually. Maybe he would have had a better turn 4. Probably I would have been a bit more scared.
But this Thunderhawk is saving you, because otherwise he could have probably killed the Serpent Squad.
Yeah, indeed. It was a very nice draw too. And anyway, it's not.
This is just a bonus.
This is exactly. It's just a bonus. Maybe we could even say a waste. I'm not sure. But this is a good top deck for him. Maybe it wasn't top deck. I didn't pay attention actually. But anyway, this is a good top deck for me.
Once again, the Thunderhawk would be clutch.
Yeah. So now there were a lot of options here. I was thinking of shenanigans with the instrument on this, and then I just face bash here and I can deal the damage to his face. But what bothers me with this idea is that he's not stunned if I do that, and therefore
you could have aimed for his head directly with the Thunderhawk.
I could have, but I really wanted to kill the thing.
Yeah, it depends if you want to kill him on the long run or not.
I don't know. I was like, okay, since he's still at 29, it will be hard for me to take him down straight away. So we'll just rather get rid of the thing.
If he has the second wave, it could be dangerous because you won't be able to reach him.
Yeah, that's right. But then I will still needed to. I mean, I couldn't put this in place. So here, first I hide, and then I have this. I have a very good turn here. The instrument is perfect, and I can just Fortranus anyway. So first I training sight, and I load up, and there we actually have a decision to make. So as you can see, let me just press forward a bit. Yeah, there. So next turn I have 9 points of energy. So I could deal the 2 damage to his face, and then he's a 9, and I hope he can kill me and I can just shoot him. So that was my first idea. But then I'm like, well, maybe if he has anti-stealth, like Informer Network on a Plague Grenade for example, or Informer Network on anything, I'm dead. Do I want to risk that? So, Khar, what do you think I choose?
Maybe to kill the last rifle.
Let's see what I do. Nothing, because I don't know. So I did not choose to do nothing. The timer ran out for some reason. Maybe that was a brain fart, maybe that was a lag. At one moment it was 10 seconds, and 1 second later I thought it was gone. So maybe it's just that I was lacking some sugar, or maybe the game actually lagged. Both are actually possible, and it's probably a combination of those two. So anyway, I guess the correct idea here will be to just throw it there, because it's very hard for him to kill my Serpent Squad if he doesn't have the last rifle.
If he has the Vengeance, he could do something. Vengeance and Grenade.
Yeah, for example, but I mean it will still be 7 points of damage. Still 2 missing.
Vengeance gives you sneak attack.
Yeah, but then
with the Blight Grenade.
Yeah,
and the last rifle, as you did not kill it.
Yeah, and the last rifle. So that's why I'm saying that I should have killed the last rifle.
Yeah, sure. That's what I said just previously.
Yeah. And here we're gonna see something a bit different. Luckily for me, he doesn't have anti-stealth, so maybe opening with Exodus was actually paying off here. And now we see that he has no issues dealing with the Serpent Squad. And then I'm like, okay, I messed up pretty badly here.
You're in trouble at this point.
And
he's healing.
At this point, I'm in trouble. But the good news is I have Ambassador Melgator and Otilon Score, of course, which I kept in my opening hand. So at least that kind of saved me. And here I'm like, should I face Bashonauts? And then I just remember all of the cards that Death Guard has. And I'm very lucky that he doesn't have lethal here because we haven't seen any Vengeance and we haven't seen any Endurance yet. So
yeah, and maybe even the Spectre of Death to kill Score.
Yeah, he could also have that. So yeah, overall, I'm being very lucky here that his hand is just as terrible as it is. But I mean, when you run cards such as he had a very good opening hand. Unfortunately for me, he did not top deck into all the things he needed. We kind of did, to be honest. We got the instrument, we got both of the Lambda from the hooks, so we kind of have the answers for everything he did to us. But it's true that he had one of the best opening hand from 2 energy all the way to 7 energy that he could possibly have.
And you had some lag issues.
And yeah, either lag or brain fart or lack of sugar, I don't know. But if I played this Fortunate Veteran, then the win's on me. It wins for me for sure. I didn't, so yeah. Whatever. Let's just move on to the next game. So for the next game, since I won with my first one, I was going to say, okay, so I don't want him to go too greedy on his list. So he still wants to win, right? So he needs to win with his 2 next warlords. So he needs to win even if I play Ahriman. But I'm not gonna settle for just a 2-1. So I really want the 3-0, and the best chance I have at 3-0ing him is going Vulkan now. Because he can still play any of his 3 warlords. Yeah.
Did you keep the informant network for the next matchups? Because versus Sigismund, it's not that useful, and versus Ahriman,
I kept it because it's actually useful against Ahriman. But now that you tell me about it, I should probably have run a last rifle instead.
Something like that. Maybe more offensive.
Yeah, I do value a lot the fact that I can ping something, and then I just to be so that I'm able to proc Ashen Bones. So this card is gonna save me, most likely, if I'm facing Ahriman. It's also very useful in the 2 other matchups, maybe less against Sigismund than against Rask. But anyway...
Like another Storm Eagle.
Well, I could have gone for that too. I kind of think one Storm Eagle is enough. I should have probably run one as a rifle. But anyway, you will notice this small crack grenade here that I have. It's especially for Ahriman, and it's also good against Rask. It's also good against Sigismund, I guess. Like, it's rid of the 2-4 frontline, for example, or the 5-5 if he doesn't have his Torba defender. So I feel
you don't run the
3-cost
legendary. I mean, the one that gives a survivor to adjacent.
Oh yeah, I used to run that, but this is a kind of different list. You will also notice that there is no Emperor's Wrath in this list, and no Russian squad, no 2 energy 2-2 thing. So this is actually a lot more defensive. You will notice the double Death Sat, you will notice the Orbital Siege, double Scorched Earth, double Ashen Bones, 1 Storm Eagle. So there are 2. This is kind of the list I'm playing to stand a chance against Ahriman, because most Vulkan lists don't stand a chance against Ahriman. This one does, because it's just so reactive. With everything we have here, well, most of the time I found out in practice that I can just have my hand filled of garbage like Scorched Earth or Death Sat or Orbital Siege, and his Patterns of Fate most of the time doesn't steal anything. So
unless he steals a Fire Drake or an Ancient Valkyrie, and then you cry a bit.
Yeah, and you will also notice that I'm not playing the hammer. And there is and it's exactly
precognition.
Yeah, firstly there is a precognition. Secondly, it's not that useful against Sigismund. The game's probably over by that point, and I value AoEs a lot more. And if Ahriman steals it,
you will small stuff with the hammer most of the time.
Yeah.
Maybe like the frontline legendary, but apart from that, the Imperial Fist troops are a bit weak. I mean, they don't have big troops.
Yeah, apart from the Dreadnought, I guess. But I have the Crack Grenade for that, or on the Ashen Bones, so enough hard removal. Alright, so this is the list I'm using. Drilling Sight is also very useful in some situations to be able to proc on Ashen Bones sometimes, for example. And, well, this is kind of my new creation, especially for this cap. And I'm very glad I found this list, because now he opens with Ahriman. Now I kick the Storm Eagle, and maybe I should have kept it just because it's a terrible choice for Patterns of Fate. And he's very accurate here in his reading. He goes for the right matchup. It's his best chance.
And here it's bad.
And yeah, I'm not happy at all about these two top decks. I am about the abundant supplies though, and my plan is just to press Hero Power again, so that I can start adding some useless things into my hand.
Why does he run Ravage Sea if he knows that you play Vulkan?
Well, you should ask him the question, because I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's good as Ahriman. There are so many cards you need to play in a good Ahriman deck that I kind of don't understand.
Yeah, some Patterns of Fate.
Yeah, he's gonna hurt. At least he's gonna be able to steal a Fire Drake. I'm not even sure what I will hate the most, Area or the Fire Drakes. Kind of think I hate Fire Drakes. In this particular hand, Area is probably the worst. But if I top deck into my Ashen Bones, then probably I don't care that much.
I think it's maybe too early to use this counterattack.
I kind of think so. There is nothing he needs to be afraid of. So,
and he knows that you have. He probably knows that you have Ira the Seducer in your hand. So why not keep it for it instead of this Dreadnought that will only do 5 damage?
Yeah. So the idea here is that here what is he protecting that counter attack? He's only protecting his face.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I'm trying to explain that a bit more thoroughly. So let me just pause here for a second, because it's actually an interesting idea. Why would you play the counter attack at Ahriman? Because you want to protect your wall or your health pool. But by doing this here, he's basically assuming that I will never be able to develop more than 5 points of damage on the board. So he's like, I'm gonna need this 5 HP, and I'm gonna assume that you won't ever be able to just attack or face bash with either Area or Fire Drake. So that doesn't seem quite right. Okay, so now I top deck.
Maybe he was afraid of the 3-cost legendary that can buff vehicles.
Maybe he was. But even if I have protocol, then I'm just gonna play it. And yeah, maybe he was just waiting. Oh, so no, my other idea is that he had plans to get wielded it after with an Astral Warfare. That could actually be the thing. Okay, but anyway, he precogs his thing, which is good. And since I created this healing, now not only can I heal my troop.
Probably the best one you can create.
I mean, the turn before it was bad because most of the others I could have played them right away, and this was kind of the only one that I couldn't. Now he goes for that first, and I'm getting a bit lucky here.
Yeah.
So he takes 5 more, which is good, but it comes in very handy. So of course he can't precog his
thing. At least he won't be able to use the Ashen Blow soon.
Yeah, that too, because I'm a lot more afraid of Ashen Blow than I am of Astral Warfare, so that's another good news for me. So here I just decide to turn my Drilling Sight into this, because there was no good use of my Drilling Sight in the upcoming turn, so I was like, okay, let's just grab a 2-1. In the early game he went for it 2 times, so it's an annoyance to him, and also he can't quite Astral Warfare anytime soon. And there another very surprising trick. I will not recommend running this as Ahriman. I guess it makes a bit more sense in this deck since he's running the Ravage City.
I mean, not for World Cup. Ladder maybe, but for World Cup, I think it's too random.
Too unreliable indeed. So now I'm being lucky here, top decking this very nice Storm Eagle. Note that Informer network would have also done the trick. I mean, most likely because I could still run a 1 on my dev set, but you get the idea.
Yeah, sure.
And there he plays another very surprising card, which I absolutely wouldn't recommend, and just for that kind of situation. Like, just imagine if this was
just run.
Yeah.
He just runs it for the 7 cost legendary.
That
finisher.
I mean,
so it's 2 runs.
It seems surprising to run that card because with Ahriman you're always gonna spend most
I
of the
agree,
psychic
but why
energy.
would you run this card? Apart from that,
I'm not entirely sure. Maybe you're right. Maybe that's it. But like, if you were just playing Mordors, this could have been an Ashenburg, you know. So, but there has to be some things that he removed for that, and I'm not entirely sure what, because we also see a Hydra, which is not a card you see every time. Now, this is a card I really like as Ahriman, especially against the deck that I'm playing, so I completely agree on that. But the other things were kind of surprising to me. So now I go for area, and there maybe I am taking a small risk. Because if I'm at 22, I have a better chance of surviving a bloodthirsty Hydra, which is basically the last thing I need to be wary of.
This card is so stupid.
Yeah, it kinda is. So not the best, not the worst, because that niche mark comes in very handy.
At least it survives.
I mean, he doesn't quite survive just yet. Well, yeah, but the Hydra survives. But then I have lethal, and that's thanks to the high rolls I had. If like the Witchfighter had hit for 3, he will have 6 HP more.
Yeah,
all the first Astral Warfare, so it could have been intense. But again, I can still draw into my hard removals, my 2 Ashen Blows.
You played well, but he has some bad luck on his rolls.
He has some bad luck too. He had some low rolls, but on the other hand, with the list he's playing, I'm kind of thinking that he was lucky enough to pull the combo of Izaka or plus Athami and the Hydra. He also had the Protocol at the right timing. He didn't have any Ashen Blondes too, which is probably good which is lucky for me. But overall, I have kind of mixed feeling about that game. I don't know if it's sheer luck that he wins the Rock Paper Series, or I will assume it's a great treat for him, because this is not the matchup I wanted to face. But yeah, this is what it is, right?
And at this point, you know that you have Ahriman, that is like the most polyvalent warlord you have.
Yeah, he's also my favorite warlord. So
yeah, I know.
yeah, so this is the list I chose. Alright, so no Witchfire, no Anathema, but a juicy Lone Martial, 2 abundant supplies, 2 supply lines. This is what you want to be using. Maybe the Mechatronic Cabal weren't that good. Maybe I could have decided for something else. They're good, but they're not just as good as against the Khan, for example. I also added Starsight, which I don't often do, but here I was truly expecting a mirror because, for
the warlord that he has, he should not play Sigismund versus Ahriman.
He should not, but that's what he decided to do. So, as I wasn't expecting that, I also added Utsi, and I almost included Uriah just because Vapix did, and I was like, okay, this is probably a good idea. And I could have removed one Skitari Protector, actually. I kind of liked having 2 front lines. They're not that bad. They're good, actually. The mirrors, the bait on Melgator, they act as a decoy, basically. So maybe this could move for 1 area, for example. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be using. And first, let me just mention that there was a weird bug. Oops, sorry about that. Well, in the first game we launched, at turn 4 or 5 or something like that, it appears to me that, like, my game told me that he was leaving, and his game told him that I was leaving. That I conceded, actually. So we both sent screenshots to each other of what was happening, and we just agreed to a rematch. And here is this rematch. So at that point, entering this game, I was a bit sad because the hand I was the game before was truly amazing.
You agreed that you will not change the warlord.
We agreed that we will not change warlord nor the list. So yeah, I don't think he had time to tweak his list. Maybe he did. I believed he just was honest because he had no reason not to be. And here I'm a bit more sad because this hand is not nearly as good as the one I previously had. So we see he still has Ravage City, which is still surprising because I think there are so many cards you can run as Imperial Fists, but I'm not that good.
He knows at this point that you will run Ahriman.
Yeah, so I guess that that doesn't do much, right?
Yeah, but Ahriman not.
So right
choice,
now,
I think.
Wese,
this is a bit too early.
I can understand that. I can understand his play. I still have
You don't
3.
have with Ahriman, you don't have much card that can do 2 damages.
Yeah, the only thing I could do is just do 2 damage early, and then minus warfare.
The 4 damage spell.
Yeah,
and it will not matter if he has his ability in the front line.
Yeah, but anyway, that's what he decides to go for. And here, let me just pause right now. Okay, so I can see his entire hand, and that is great. I see that he still runs an edict, and that's very risky from him because it's a 50-50 card against Ahriman. Sometimes it will be good, and sometimes it will just lose the game on the spot when you play it. So I also see the Stalwart Defenders and the Phalanx Warders, and I'm like, okay, Stalwart Defenders is nice because I can play them right away, but Phalanx Warders, man, it's 10 HP, right? So it's better. What would have been your choice here?
And you don't have that much. A Stalwart Defenders is also good when you have a lot of small troops, because you can buff a lot of them. And Ahriman tends to run big troops. So this buff will not be as good as if you play Imperial Fist, because you have a lot of garbage troops like turrets.
Yeah,
it can benefit from the buff.
So it's
but maybe I understand the choice, and I think I would have done the same. But you can also do the argument for the other one.
Yeah. So now I do not hesitate throwing Martian Blow. Just because I just saw his hands, so I know that first I need to use my tactics as soon as I can, and second I absolutely don't mind doing just what I did. And then an interesting idea from me. Let me just explain it. So here I have 2 possible ideas. Either I go for the mortals, I go for this and the supply lines, or for that. But I'm like, okay, I will just go with Phalanx Wardens and Hero's Mortar at the turn after, because the Phalanx will be here to protect the Mortar.
You could also have done Phalanx and Pi Alpha, but not sure it was really useful.
I kinda don't think so, because if I want to use Phalanx the turn before, then I need to use my supply lines before he edicts me.
Yeah, I agree with the choice, but
here I did something. I chose not to heal, just to tell him. Well, it was kind of misplay because I know he has edict in his hand, so I should just use my heal. But I want to force him with the edict now so that he doesn't do anything else his turn, and then I can play. Then, well, if he chooses to play anything else, then I can Astral Warfare. And if he decides to edict me,
play the counter attack.
Yeah, I should have played the counter attack. I didn't, but I should have done it. I don't mind losing 3 HP to try and fight for the board. And this first mortar shot, it's a pretty dire miss. So yeah, I should have played the counter attack just because I absolutely don't want to draw it again. And here is very lucky because I can't remember exactly how many troops I ran in my deck, but I do believe it's around the 50-50. So having 4 cards leave my hand, especially given the amount of dead cards I had in the early game, it's lucky for me. So look, we're both being lucky in these games, so nothing to be ashamed of. And now I can start healing things. I prefer to heal my mortar, of course. And like full of swung here, I guess. And finally I get a hit on one of his troops. But I'm still missing the two, which is a shame. And yeah, that's also one of the reasons why I should have attacked here. Because yeah, this was a good top deck for him. He didn't draw any card of any sorts. And now my thing is weaker than his. So I should have definitely attacked. But anyway, I take 3 more, and then this guy goes there. And now that was a good top deck for me, just as this top deck was good for him. Decided to heal myself because I'm starting to feel a bit shaky, you know. Perfect hit from the mortar. Yeah, finally a good hit. And there, I'm like, okay, that should do it. He keeps on drawing some of his good late game cards.
Yeah. And this is the second one, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
The second one. Misordering him for me, but I'm not sure if there was anything he could have done. Any card he could have. Good top deck for him also.
Maybe the phalanx.
It costs 8, right? He only had 7 left.
Yeah, I agree.
No problem. So here I could have decided to just put the other mortar in, but I'm kind of feeling like this should be enough to win the game. So since I haven't drawn my Astral Warfare back, I just decide to win with my Doombringer, and I heal back up a bit, and I'm not hesitating to use all of that psychic power.
But you could have killed the Dreadnought, but it would have required a lot of sacrifice on your hand.
Yeah, I could have done that, but again, I'm not too worried. I mean, the tank, the 2-2, if it had killed the Pentadas, it could have been a problem. But here,
because I'm always worried about the protocol when you leave a vehicle on the board.
Oh, I'm not worried. I don't think he runs protocol in his deck. I kind of had, you know, he posted his list.
You have at least 3 vehicles, like the 2, 5 or 6 cost.
Yeah,
that's 5/5.
He should. But anyway, so here, I'm like, okay, so I could play the other mortar. I decided not to because I'm like, okay, if I just kill the thing, I will have a mortar and a Doombringer on the board, and that should be enough to win the game. So I go for the kill here, and maybe I could have just played the other mortar, leave that thing alive, and keep on giving precognition to all of my troops, and heal me.
No, I think it was the right play.
But yeah, I could not hide all of my things and also heal me, and he will still have 7 damage, so I wasn't all too sure about that.
At this point you have the board, and it's hard for the Imperial Fleet to come back. Unless you have defenders.
Kinda hard. But there he draws Retribution. Which is a start, no?
Yeah, definitely.
So he uses his ability, and I start drawing poorly, but I mean, I've done most of my big things.
And you had some good throws, so it's only fair that at some point you had some bad one.
It's only fair. Yeah, we both drew very well, and when I'm saying very well, I mean very well. And now I'm like, ooh, this is scary. And this is indeed very scary, because all of a sudden,
could have lethal.
He has 7. How did I do it?
This top deck.
I mean, he top deck Phalanx, right? So I can't top deck all. It's just fair. We're still being fair here. So I really need to settle lethal. I'm not attacking with this in case he has a second vehicle. And there it's a bit unlucky. I would have liked to either kill that thing or that both went there. So it was a 50-50 that we missed.
And you have lethal, I think.
And here, yeah, we do have the full thanks to that Melgator. It's the last card in our hand and it's still useful. But
So this Melgator was useful, yeah.
yeah, it was useful indeed. And he did use his abilities, so we will have to throw everything we have. This is of course...
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So yeah, overall, we were both, I think, very lucky this game. Why was I very lucky? I was lucky with some of my mortar hits, not all of them. He was extremely lucky with that edict. It's hard for me to tell you guys exactly how lucky that was, because when Ahriman is all about doing more things than you and completely winning the board thanks to the psychic powers and the patterns of fate. So Ahriman is truly about, I am going to do more things than you. And then he spends an entire turn, he spends his whole 7-minute turn doing nothing on the board-wise. And yeah, I have 70 troops for 13 tactics. So I discarded, let's say, 3 cards on my counter-attack and I only have 2 troops left. And I also played more tactics than troops, I believe. Well, I'm not sure that, so I won't... That doesn't matter. So that was... The fact that it actually mattered so much for him was very, very nice. But then I compensated that with all of my lucky mortar hits, I mean. And of course the fact that I still got my hand on Doombringer and on both mortars. But yeah.
I think he should not have played Sigismund versus Ahriman.
This was terribly risky, yeah. I do believe his best chance was Ahriman Mirror. In terms of matchup. I am feeling pretty confident against Rask. Rask can always surprise you, but it's a matchup I feel confident with, and sometimes the Ahriman Mirror, when one player has just sweat a better hand than the other, well, it's just a guaranteed win.
It's one more random compared to Sigismund versus Ahriman.
I mean, Sigismund is probably less random.
This was a bad example because it was very tight.
It was extremely close indeed, and well, you can blame luck. For me, the way I think we both got very lucky that Phalanx that Retribution top deck into Phalanx, and also he had the Dreadnought and everything. I know that the Dreadnought I kinda cast it upon myself because I forgot to trade that 3/3, but yeah, I had no low martial. We could also say that. I still had the True Giant to fish for that Izaka ore. So yeah. There was plenty of things.
It was good, some good games. Second one, I think it was a bit more about being lucky. I mean, for him not being lucky with the low rolls. For the two other ones, it was interesting.
Probably. He was lucky that my opening hand was so good for his Patterns of Fate, because that's not always the case. But after that, he did have some very bad low rolls, and that kind of cost him the game, right? Because when he hit that Slanish mark on that Hydra, of course he's not guaranteed to hit that, and if he doesn't, then I'm in a good spot too. But if he heroes and then hits that Slanish mark, then I probably lose the game. So yeah. But I mean, this list is kind of built towards fighting Ahriman, and I surprisingly had very good results against Ahriman in practice. So at least preparation paid off, right, I guess. So I'm gonna end up the video here. I'm gonna hand, one last word maybe, Khar, before we call this a day.
You should have played this deck versus Vapex.
Probably should have. But I mean, my previous one was fine against Khar and against Exo and against Aquarius, so yeah.
I'm joking.
Yeah, please guys, go watch my games against Vapex, either on his channel or on mine. These were also amazing games that I would definitely recommend to you. And thank you all for watching today, and we will be back soon with some more coverage of that wonderful club we're having so far. Have a good one, cheers!